All right, so I might get a little bit of emotional on this one. This is May of 2022. I think it's May 22nd, if memory serves me correctly. But guys, I've mastered my type 2 diabetes, my blood sugar control, as you guys are going to see with the glucose monitor. Today I'm going to show you guys the interface of how I have basically just mastered the art of blood sugar control for myself. And when I say emotional, it's because you guys are probably, if you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, you're probably really emotional about it. There's lots of anxiety, fear, anger, some mixed emotions about it. And as you start surfing the web and seeking out information from all different sources, there's just so much shit out there. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But I've really strived to create something here at the Type 2 Diabetes Brotherhood Daily, is to figure out a way to get you guys on board, to show you guys what it actually looks like to have control of your blood sugars. All right, I'm at a little bit of a loss here because I have to be careful with which words I say so we don't get in trouble. But guys, I've built this thing here for you guys. This is a place where if you're struggling with information, you're struggling with knowledge, you know, and you want to figure out how you can do it, you want to find somebody who's actually done it themselves, I guess is what I'm saying. That's me. And the proof is in the pudding. If you guys take a look at my blood sugar results, that says it all. I've also shared my A1C with you guys. I've also showed how I deliberately took my blood sugars up. I raised them high. This phone keeps messing around with me here. I've deliberately, got my blood sugars raised high to the point where I was pre-diabetic at an A1C of 6.0. And I know this because I went to the doctors and I got my blood work done. And that way you guys can get a real feel for, that might sound crazy to some people. Let me fix this damn fucking phone. This thing's getting all over the place here. There we go. Whoops. Driving and trying to do a video at the same time. Yeah, you guys may think I'm crazy, but yeah, I deliberately raised my blood sugars for you guys to show, and for myself too, to really show the flex. That's my flex with this. I'm a real person. I'm just a regular old Joe. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I just been wearing this continuous glucose monitor for over a year now, about a year and a half plus, and I've just learned so much doing it. And I know that a lot of you guys are struggling out there, trying to figure out what to do, who to trust. And basically the Type 2 Diabetes Brotherhood, that's your home. This is your place for you to watch somebody who's done it, to learn from me, hopefully start your own journey yourself, and get on with it. So, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, is it even possible, right? There's just so many questions, and that's what I'm here for. If you guys subscribe, if you come across this video, make sure you subscribe, because I'm at like 25 subscribers right now. I think I'm able to do lives where I can answer questions in real life time for you guys, and all I need is 25 more. God damn, this is an irritating film. I don't know why. I've never had this issue before with this damn recording device. So yeah, hopefully you guys have come across this video, and I'm sure you have lots of questions. So yeah, I've become the Bruce Lee, and the way I've done it, my brothers, is that I've pretty much just stop eating fruit for a while. I adjust my blood sugars. As yesterday I was talking about how everything's flexible, right? They try to give you a kit. Well, a kit doesn't work for everybody. Real life happens. They can give you a manual, and that's what I do too. I kind of show you guys what's going on with what I can do myself. And it's interchangeable. So intermittent fasting has been a big one. But let's start from the beginning. There's a lot of basics and stuff I can share with you guys what I've done to get my blood sugars as low as I have on this round of experimentation. And it was basically lowering protein intake. And I'll bet you a lot of guys don't know that. I'm pretty thin set. I lost over just under 50 pounds, and I'm trying to bulk up some muscle. So I've been really added at the protein. And too much protein consumption, excess protein, there's only so much that your body can, it can absorb and actually put to use. Let's see if I make the death-defying turn here. Yep, we made it. We're alive. And oh my God. All right, there we go. There we go. I got to get this recording system up. Yeah, so there's only so much protein you guys can take. The rest of it gets converted to sugar. So a lot of people don't know that. So, you know, some people say eat your body weight in protein. I've been probably consuming, I'm 185 pounds. I went from 180 to 5 pounds. I'm hoping that that's muscle on me. It feels like I'm getting a little bit more bulked up. And I'm not looking to get like super huge charge, just, you know, a little bit more density to my frame. But yeah, excess protein can convert to sugar. So it's stored sugar. It's not the same as table sugar, right? Or carbohydrates, but it'll still give you a good raise. So something to take and consider, especially if you're doing a low carb diet like I've done to reverse your type 2 diabetes, but more so if you're looking to bulk up. That's why I say a continuous glucose monitor is your best friend. It's the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal to regulate your blood sugars, to know where you're at all times. So yeah, I mentioned fruit. I quit fruit. No fruit at all for probably about a week and a half now. It doesn't mean that you have to quit fruit, no, but it sure as fuck helps. Especially with my continuous glucose monitor, I'm noticing that without doing my apples and strawberries and stuff with heavy whipped cream, I do usually green apples with cinnamon, which is supposed to help lower blood sugars, and heavy whipped cream. And got off that, and that's been really regulating my blood sugar. Really, really good. Intermittent fasting has also been a huge, huge tool. Knowing what I know now, when I first started out, I would have definitely jumped on intermittent fasting. But the one thing I can warn you guys about is that if you are on medications, you're going to have to keep a close eye on what's happening with your blood sugars at all times. It's what's going to happen if you eat low carb, you stop eating fruits, and you change your diet, your blood sugars can go down, and then the metformin or whatever you're taking can push it down even further. Then you can go into low blood sugar realm, you know, and suffer some of the consequences. And guys, I have to say this in here, due diligence. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. If you are type 2 diabetic, you should consult a doctor. So yeah, intermittent fasting, and it's interchangeable. It's not only interchangeable doing intermittent fasting, it's feeding times, it's what you eat, right? So if you're finding that your blood sugars are rising, just do what I've done this whole entire week, where I eat breakfast, and then I'll, like at 9 o'clock, and then I won't eat for 8 hours. And I'm in roofing construction, guys. It's not that hard. If you do feel like you're getting hunger pains and you're in pain, you feel like you're gonna fucking die, you know, take something like a sparkling lemon water, and something in the bubbles helps satiate your hunger. But yeah, I'll eat at like 9 a.m. and that consists of like a half a pound of some sort of beef. This whole entire week I've been consuming a smoked tri-tip with like 4 eggs, a whole avocado, some salsa, and that's like my go-to. And then I've been actually experimenting too, where I added on a 30-gram protein shake about 30 minutes later. So that's all done between the hours of 9 and 9:30. And then I'll just go throughout the day. I do start to get hungry on some days, around, especially when I first start, right around 3 o'clock or so, depending on how heavy my labor is and how much action my body has seen. I'll be pretty damn hungry, but it's not like I'm dying. And in fact, it gets easier the longer I do it, the easier it is to go longer and longer without eating. But yeah, and then I'll wait and I'll eat like a smaller dinner, right? Like about, I don't know, a half a cup of, like, I think the last couple days was chicken fajitas that I made, and with some like lettuce, tomato, or pico de gallo, and some little bit of some sour cream, an avocado. So a big giant breakfast, that's probably over 100 grams of protein, and then a small dinner of like maybe 30 grams of protein, right? And I've even switched it up where I stopped, I wouldn't even eat breakfast or lunch. I would just go all the way until dinner time, and that's how I can really, really get a big reduction in my blood sugars. But one thing I found is that I didn't like is that, you know, if I stopped eating at 5 p.m. the first day, went all night without eating, all day without eating, by the time I ate dinner, which I would just load up on like 100 grams of protein, maybe 130, 140, all that protein sitting in my gut, and it's digesting all night while I'm sleeping. So interchangeability. So what I started doing was eating in the morning, and I did this once or twice, I can't remember, where I just ate a huge breakfast of like, I don't know, I'm gonna say probably around 100, 120 grams of protein. which consisted of like eggs, like if it's just like 8 to 10 eggs with salsa on it, or in an avocado, or some sort of meat like burger and eggs, like half-pound of burger is usually my go-to. 4 eggs, some hatch salsa, and also an avocado if I have it, and then followed by a protein shake about 30 minutes later. So doing that in the morning, I'm able to burn all that off, and then by not eating dinner, my blood sugars actually come back to lower ranges. So that to me seems like the best, either from noon, from breakfast, or like lunchtime. Like, do one of those. Try like a breakfast, or try like a lunch, and then skip out the dinner. But if you are going to do breakfast and dinner, try a very large breakfast, and then have yourself a very small dinner, just enough to satiate you, and that's going to get your blood sugars in control. So a lot involves too exactly what you're eating. So if you watch a lot of my short form videos, a lot of my recipes and stuff, they're all almost mostly carnivore. But I do eat things like avocados and stuff like that. So what I really consider myself, to get the record straight here, is I think I'm a paleo guy. So if you don't know what paleo is, it's basically eating nuts, berries, which I don't eat nuts. But kind of like a forager, I guess. What you would do in the wild. And the whole thing stems, if you don't know about what paleo, carnivore, and all that is, it pretty much stems from a lot of people saying that they want to eat more like their ancestors did, a more natural diet, and trying to like mimic that. So that's kind of like what I've done. I'm not too much in the ancestral thing. I mean, it depends where you live. If you were, in the Congo, or you're in Alaska, or depending on where you're at, even if you're a Native American Indian, I'm from the United States of America. I know we got listeners from all over the world, but where I live in San Diego, I'd probably be eating lizards and cactus, apples, and whatever the fuck I could find, right? So I don't know. I think people take it a little too far, but I don't know. Is it too far? When you start looking at the fucking clown food that we have, it's just fucking ridiculous, right? I don't know to what extent that we take it, I don't know. That's a whole nother video for another day. I'm not against carnivore at all. In fact, I've practiced carnivore. I've practiced all of them. I've done keto for a very long period of time. I just couldn't make it through all the cheese and dairy and stuff. It was just too much for me. But yeah, basically what I've said before too is my intuition. So, sometimes my intuition is saying I'm starving and I want to eat. All I have to do is check myself, because sometimes when you get those hunger pains, as they call them, it's not like true hunger. Like, there's different depths of hunger. Like, I'm going to say it's probably like a 1 to 3, right? 1 means you're bored hungry, right? You're like, oh, I'm hungry, I want to eat something. But if you really feel your stomach, kind of like the way I'm sitting right now, your stomach's full. You're not growling, right? Number 2 is, yeah, you're starting to get hungry. You spent some of the energy, you burned up some of your fuel, but you're still, like, if you drink a glass of water and you ignored it, it'd go away. Number 3 is when you're fucking hungry. Like, your stomach's making noises and you're thinking about food, and that's all you can think about. You're like, I am hungry. And guys, one of my experiments I want to do is actually go for a 3-day fast, like a 72-hour, and just to see. I've never done one that long before. That's going to be interesting to see what the hunger does there. But yeah, if you really feel out your body, sometimes you're not as hungry as what you think. Remember when you were a little kid and you were starving and you're like, oh my God, I'm hungry, but you still wanted to play and you kept playing? You snitched on yourself. Your body snitched on itself, right? You weren't that hungry. You kept playing. You didn't die. When you came home, you sure as fuck were starving and you ate everything on your plate, but you made it through the day. And that's kind of where the whole carnivore, paleo, living like our ancestors come from. There was no refrigeration and shit like that, so it's not like people were going out, grabbing a fucking hot dog or a steak out of the fridge. Like, they had to go find it, right? And they had to expel a lot of energy to go find it. And there was a lot of times where they couldn't find it, right? And again, this is a conversation I think for another day, but I just wanted to give you guys some perspective and the thoughts I have, right, during the day. But yeah, getting back to mastering your blood sugars is the video. What you guys are going to see today with my glucose monitor is total, how can I say, it's total proof. Everything's in the light. The cat's out of the bag. I really think that the continuous glucose monitor is being suppressed because once people get a sniff of it, once they start to see, and I hope I'm going to be a big part of that, what it could do for you, it's going to make a lot of other, how can I say, health practitioners is probably a safe way to say, right, without getting in trouble, YouTube. With health practitioners, it's going to make them redundant, right? And it's going to make them, a lot of people look like shit, because that's my big thing here, guys. As I opened up with, I know you guys are frustrated. Some of you might be scared. Some of you are full of anxiety. Some of you are angry because of all the misinformation and shit out there. And I said not all of it's misinformation and shit, but you kind of like for myself, how do I really fucking know, right? And I've done this 1,000 times. Right? I've followed a lot of different channels. I've read books. I've tried all these different diets to find out that, yeah, maybe I might not have high blood sugars, but I'm constipated, right? I can't take a fucking normal shit. That's not good. I found that eating certain foods were giving me migraines, and I even found some sweeteners and stuff. Some different foods were giving me like swollen ankles, like water retention. So, yeah, you might trade one thing for the other. So I've been testing this out for many years, many months. Almost a year and a half, and that's what I'm hoping to shortcut everything for you guys. So, not to say that if you do exactly what I'm doing, you're going to get the exact same results. Everybody's bodies are different, and that's why I don't believe that you can just have a regular old kit or a manual of a one-size-fits-all for everybody, because everybody's bodies are different. So, God, sorry about this fucking goddamn. My door sounds like it's ready to fucking fall off over here. This is probably the worst recording I've done so far. Everything's sliding and falling. But I think I got the message out. And that's, let me talk about that for a second. Yes, the show isn't fucking polished. It's not about a nice, good background. It's not about a fucking rehearsal, right? Life is not a fucking rehearsal. This is about real life shit from a real life guy. And I don't think we need to be polished. We need to focus on the thing. My philosophy in life is fuck the aesthetics. I'm after the functionality. What can this do for me? You may be watching this video and I was saying, what the fuck could this dude do for me? Why should I even fucking follow him? Well, because I've mastered my type 2 diabetes. I'm the Bruce Lee of blood sugar control. And I want to share with you guys how to do that. Because I know how it feels, as I said, guys. I was there, and it fucking sucks. And the amount of comfort that I have and security knowing that, hey, at any time I can adjust. I know what to do, how to do it, what to eliminate, what to bring into my life and diet and my exercise routines, basically my lifestyle to change things up. I know that I will never be type 2 diabetic. And that's a good fucking feeling. And I want that to be out there for you guys, and that's the whole purpose of this channel. So I want to give you guys a lot of tips and tricks. I feel like I've been talking a lot more on the philosophy of stuff, and that's kind of a big one too, though, right? I know you guys need tips and tricks, but what I found is we as individuals could be our own worst enemies, because nobody can make you do anything, especially if you're a man, right? We're hard-headed, right? But you have to realize the philosophy of it first. I kind of think of this as like the samurais when they would come in to train. I want to be a samurai or a warrior. And it was like the samurais would have to go through an immense amount of mental training to be able to control not just their body, but their mind as well. There's a lot of emotional intelligence, I think, involved in something like this, because you're basically going to a whole new world. You're stopping the old world. The old you has to be left behind. You got to pack that shit up in a suitcase and throw it in the fucking fire, right? That's emotionally challenging. I think there's a lot of shit that we have to get straight to be able to stick to things, right? To stick to it is to a certain diet, to an exercise regime, to cut out sugar. Cutting out sugar is no fucking joke, man. That was probably that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, it was fucking nuts. I actually started to get a lot of off thoughts where I didn't want to be around anymore, right? If you know what I'm saying. Like, the dialogue in my fucking head was insane. And I want to prepare, not to say that you guys are going to go through the same shit. As I said, everybody's different. But really, we got to get down to the philosophy, the mindset to make you start your journey, but also be able to maintain and finish out your journey. Because without the right mindset, you ain't got shit, right? You got to want it. Does that make sense? A lot of people will try to teach you something, but if you don't want to learn it, you're not going to learn it. It's not going to retain. So that's what I've got for you guys. I've got a pure system that I've been working on for over a year and a half. I've read many, many books. I have watched thousands of hours of YouTube, and I've done thousands of hours of trial and error. And some worked, some didn't. And it was excruciating. It was a pain in the fucking ass. I just feel like I can shortcut you guys so much faster than all the shit that I had to do, right? So if somebody's been through it, guys, like, who would you trust? Would you trust somebody telling you what to do, or would you trust somebody showing you what to do, right? If I went to buy a house and I went to my realtor's house and I saw he owned a big old mansion, right? And I saw that he owned several properties, in contrast to some guy living in a hut that only owned that one, I'd probably most likely choose the guy in the mansion, right? You got to kind of show. You got to show what's up. And I'm showing you guys every single day. I think the really biggest thing to gain trust is to go live and show you guys what I'm doing every single day, even though we're doing it on shorts, even though I'm doing it on these long form videos with a fucked up camera that keeps sliding around. I want to be able to go live, and I want to be able to answer your questions. So help me get there. Help me get to 50 subscribers, and let's show up. Let's talk about it. You know, I'm sure you have a lot of fucking questions, and you got somebody who's here willing to put his time out for you. Take advantage of it. All right, I'm gonna leave this fucked up phone, and let's check out my blood sugars for today, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so before I show you guys my blood sugars for today, I want to take you guys a couple days earlier. And as you guys can see, sleeping in here, I have like 114. My blood sugars were super, super high. This is before I really started getting down to intermittent fasting on a serious level. And you guys can see 104 milligrams per deciliter. That's pretty damn high, especially, what is this, 3, 4 in the morning. I'm at 114. And during the day, I want you guys to keep an eye on how high these levels are. And this is the pump and dump. This is how through intermittent fasting, I've lowered my blood sugars. And just keep an eye on here. See how this gray zone here is the optimal glucose range. That's where I want to stay in. But I want to be really low, especially when I wake up. For those of you who don't know, anything above 99 is considered pre-diabetic. And anything above 120, 125, depending on who you're listening to, is considered full-blown diabetic. And that's when you wake up with the fasting blood sugars. So you guys can see here through the night, I'm actually up to the 100, staying up. It's getting lower, but it's still pretty high. When I woke up, I was around 105 milligrams per deciliter. And just keep an eye. Look at how high these are. I had to put a new glucose monitor in on this day here, and pretty much your first 24 hours just all wonky. It's all over the place. I showed you guys this yesterday, but I got it dialed in, and you guys can see blood sugars are still kind of high. Yesterday, kind of high. I dialed it back in again. I was not at 129. I was not at 115. In fact, blood sugars went down to lower here to like the 80s. So this is last night, and I want to show you guys, this is the beauty of intermittent fasting. This is what I've been talking about. This is what I've been striving to get to. I have full control of my blood sugars, and look at these numbers, guys. The 70s, 80s, this is absolute perfection. As I go through here, you guys can see hit 90 a couple of times, but actually dipped down right before I woke up here at about 5:58, 6 o'clock, down to 79. And I woke up with 87 milligrams per deciliter. Now that's absolute perfection, my friends. And then let's keep going to the whole day. Look at this, without eating anything, usually those blood sugars spike up a lot higher, down in the low 90s to mid 90s all day until I actually ate it around noon, which was a protein smoothie, 6 eggs and an avocado with some salsa. And you can see when I finally refed, that vamped up the blood sugars. This is like putting gasoline in your gas tank in your car, right? But all night, that gas was being spent, right? That gas, because I wasn't eating all day during the first part of the morning. You can see all that blood sugar is being spent out of my body. So it went up And actually, here's another spending part. All that's going down and down and down until I refed at around 5 o'clock. And now you guys can see the difference, very, very much lower. I did a 30-minute walk that actually got my blood sugars down from 102 down to 84, I think, at the lowest here. And just kind of going up and down as usual. This is my body regulating all the food, digesting what I ate. But you guys can see, look at this, is absolutely perfect. This is very difficult to get. I'm at 100% time and range, but this is what's possible for you guys, my friends, too, as well. It doesn't cost you any money. As I said, it doesn't cost you any extra things like time, taking supplements and things like that. Just a brisk little walk sometimes, and intermittent fasting, not eating such high carbs, changing how you eat, your patterns during the day, what you eat. And this is achievable for you as well, my friends. So this is what it looks like to have optimal. Let's look one more time at that morning. Right over here. 86 or 87 milligrams per deciliter. Now this is from Dr. Bernstein. If you don't know about him, check him out on YouTube. But he's saying that the most optimal glucose that you can have is 86. And I'm 1 point off from that. And I'm going to call that as close to perfection as I can. Let's see what tomorrow does. Tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to continue with the intermittent fasting. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to do a 24-hour fast. So let's see what happens with all of this, and we'll go from there. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.